Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the Man United agenda. Again, we are back. You know what? It's becoming a common theme, a lot of stuff. We're showing our faces a lot, but obviously it's a magnitude of a day, huge day. So the whole panel's pretty much here. Obviously, no Column, but he's itching to get on. We will hear from Column at some point this week. But we are joined, obviously, Yaba, Mr. B, and Rebel once again because we've not seen Rebel for ages, and he liked it. So what is it? He liked it was so nice. He's back. He's back twice. That's the saying. So he's back in one day. Yaba, obviously, the big news: Ruben Amorim sacked. We covered it earlier on. I want to go around obviously to Mr. B as well, and get your thoughts. Obviously, you've heard from me, you've heard from Rebel. Your thoughts on Ruben Amorim sacking?
First of all, I'm a Man United fan. I support Man United Football Club, and I want the best for Man United Football Club. Okay, now I think Amorim, I would have backed him for the end of the season because really he's only had since the summer. He came in November last year. I would have gone all the way to the end of the season with him, but I understand. I mean, it's been relentless. Other managers get sacked. You don't get this sort of news and updates every minute about it. It's been going on since morning. Sky Sports are having a field day with this. The whole world's having a field day with this. But I think fair play to Amorim. He's 40 years old. He's coming to a big job. And as he said yesterday, which is key for me, he said, I came as a manager, not a head coach. And obviously in football these days, you've got all these sporting directors, all these roles going around the club. And, there's a bit of conflict there, clearly. And I think he sort of put the timer on the time bomb yesterday with his quotes. Happy to leave with £15 million. And people might say good riddance. I just say thanks for the good job. Thanks for the work. Thanks for putting the work in. Thanks for trying to do your best to do what you can. I don't think he came here to fail. Everyone's, all you've got is your reputation. I don't think he came here to fail. He tried his best to do things, but other factors got in the way, I believe. Lack of good players, distraction, not whatever's going on will all be revealed, I'm sure, about his relationship with Ineos and the sporting director and things like that. So I just want to say thanks, Ruben Amorim, for trying to get the best out of a bad bunch. When you look at the players, I think they're not top four. We haven't got enough players there to be a top four side or squad. So he done the best he could do. And if it wasn't good enough for Man United Football Club, we move on and we support the next manager. So it's a momentous day, like you said. And, I'm not emotional too much about it. It's done and dusted. We move on. That's all I can say about it for now.
Mr. B, how are we? How are we feeling on this?
I'm buzzing, bro.
A day of mourning.
I'm buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing. I was drinking Jack Daniels at 11:37 today when I got home from work. So let's not get it twisted, yeah? I'm glad he's gone. The reason why he's gone isn't the result. The reason why he's gone is because he's opened his mouth and cussed the board. He knew what he was doing when he said what he was doing. He came into that press conference, the lead press conference. He'd already had the argument with Wilcox. So he probably knew the writing was already on the wall. So yeah, he's gone out there on his shield. You know what I mean? He didn't bow down to pressure. He stuck with his formation, rightly or wrongly in the situation, but he stuck by his guns. And as a man, or as a woman, to be fair, the only thing you can do is stand up for your principles, and that's what he did. You know what I mean? So I don't knock him. I don't knock him for what he stood for, but the results have been shit. So I'm glad he's gone. And up Darren Fletcher, Rebel.
We'll talk about Darren. We will talk about Darren, of course, the new interim in situ. Rebel, obviously, you joined me earlier. Thank you. Obviously, huge news. We kind of caught it as it was going. The days gone by. Reflection.
While I didn't agree with everything that Ruben Amorim did at Manchester United Football Club, and ultimately I didn't think he was the man to lead us forward and advance us to where we want to be, I don't think that Ineos and the Glazers have a sufficient plan to actually take us from 6th place into Champions League football. And if anything, I think they might have actually screwed our season. I have no belief in Darren Fletcher. I think he's a charlatan masquerading in a Premier League. He is a goldfish in the Atlantic Ocean. What are his credentials? What has he done? At least Michael Carrick has gone off and actually managed some places if we brought him in as an intern till the end of the season. At least Ole, despite his flaws and his lack of tactics, has managed in proper leagues. Darren Fletcher has done absolutely nothing apart from put out cones in training. And I think whether or not they wanted to fire Ruben Amorim and whether or not it's the right decision, I think they hadn't done enough. Now, if Darren Fletcher turns out to be only there for the game against Burnley and the cup game at the weekend, fair enough if they're appointing somebody else in the intern. But I do not think they have any idea what they're going to do until the end of the season. Because
he's the interim rebel.
Like I said, if it's a temporary thing where he's gone at the weekend after the cup game and they have somebody proper in until the end of the season, fair dinkum, no problems. It is what it is. It's what Chelsea are doing at the moment. They have the Cohen guy managing them against Pep Guardiola on Sunday. But reflecting on it, I think we've probably said multiple times over the last couple of weeks that he's been getting ratty, that he's been getting a bit short in his media conferences. But this is the one I want to throw out to the panel. We watched Cristiano Ronaldo speak out. He got moved on. We watched Ralph Rangnick speak out. He got moved on. Jose Mourinho spoke against the board. Guess what? He got moved on. So it seems like any time that anybody even fairly criticizes the board, despite maybe their abilities, they deflect by removing that person. And at some point,
shut your mouth.
But if you're sitting inside and work and you know Yaba and Rebel are doing absolutely everything wrong, and that ultimately it's going to cost you your job, you're going to speak out, aren't you?
Not if it's your colleagues, then yes. If it's the people above you, no. That's the difference here. I think that's the massive difference. Amorim's done it and spoke out about his bosses, which ultimately.
But he knew.
Yeah,
he knew. At the end of the day, that was the only way.
Tactical press conference. It was tactically done. Like he said it knowing. You don't say that, and we were probably foolish to think he weren't going to be sacked before 10 o'clock, if anything. He's lucky he made it to 10 o'clock this morning. After that, I'm very, very keen. Let me have a whiz through the comments, please, gents. Mr. Potus, hate to say I told you so, but he was sacked, and here we are. The second you start talking like he did in the press, it's over. If I did that in my job, I'd be gone as well. Oh, but bang on. There you go. That's literally what he said, like what you've just mentioned there. Hi, Vinny. Hello. How you doing, kind sir? How you doing? Andrew, hallelujah. Absolute dog shit manager. Cheerio. I can sense there's going to be a common theme here. Steph in the building. Over to best in disaster class to decide. Gotta get it right this next appointment. Do we trust Ineos to do that though? We probably don't. How do we think Ruben is getting back to Portugal? My guess is I'm boring 747. Oh okay. Who else we got in here? Who else? Big up Matt. Big up yourself. Max, what job? What good job? I've got my own thoughts on that, to be fair. Colin, Ineos out, Glazers out. Get that background back on when you're next on the live. Love that. And then Ryan, hello Ryan. You guys have it so bad. We have it so bad, but as I say, it's not doom and gloom. Anyone that loses their manager, it does seem like a catastrophe. We feel that way purely because of who's running our club. We don't feel confident in the process that's going to take place in the coming weeks. And hello, Bart. Hello, hi all. And obviously, hello lads. Ange is free. Nope. Don't tempt us with that. We're not going there. and sick and tired now of our club being made a laughingstock. Barada and Wilcox should have been sacked too. Then Ineos and the Glazers. And I think we all agree with that. I think we all share that sentiment. But I do want to talk about the here and now in regards to it, because we can talk about the Glazers, we can talk about Ineos, and we definitely will. They have to have their say in this. They are not coming away with no blame whatsoever. 100%, they have to take the blame. But I'll come back to you, kind sir. In terms of what next, obviously the bed's still warm. You know, Ruben Amorim's probably still in Manchester somewhere. Do you see this as a positive? Do you see a progression? Do you see a path for the end of the season?
Yeah, look, we're in a good position. We're primed right now. The window's open, and we're primed in 6th place with a number of other clubs, just a couple of points around that space. There's about 7, 8, 9 clubs, all with looking at the opportunity here to say, look, we can kick on here in January and push on for top 5 or top 4 if possible. So there's an opportunity there, and why is
the feedback there?
Don't know why there's echo, but yeah. So there's opportunity there, and I think if you're like Bruce Wayne, the reason why Bruce Wayne's a human, and he plays Batman, and the reason why he's one of the most badass superheroes out there is because he doesn't have any powers, but he's always got a plan, a contingency plan for anything that goes wrong. And I hope you want these guys, Ineos, whoever they are.
You made a mistake there. I hope.
I hope.
Ineos.
I hope that they have a contingency plan. If you're going to sack someone, you don't have a contingency plan to say Darren Fletcher to come in, as a short-term measure, because I don't think that's going to be suitable right now. We need a kickstart. Like I say, we need a good transfer window. If you're going to invest, I know you spent some money on the manager leaving, but you need a kickstart of a new manager coming in now and turning it around as soon as possible and getting the next 10, 15% out of these players, because the players have to step up. And they haven't done that. And I just think if you get another 10%, because we're so close, you look at the goals we could have scored, we could create chances. If you look at the players' performances, just not quite there, not quite there. So they need a manager to push them the extra mile for the remaining games of the season. That's really important. But I would like to see, I'm not interested in a short-term measure with Darren Ferguson. I don't think he's fair. Darren Fletcher, Darren Ferguson. There you go, another one who got a free ride at Man United. But I don't think that it's fair that he comes in, because he's got 2 sons at the club. And I noticed how Amorim was picking those 2 to come, or put them on the bench and picking one of the sons in. Maybe sort of.
But they never had any. Yeah, but they didn't have anything else to play,
Yeah, I know, but it makes me think now. Maybe he's appeasing Darren Ferguson. Darren Ferguson's clearly got some weight in the club. When they were shipping everyone out, sacking everybody, he remained. He's got his twin boys there, and he stayed at the club, and now he's got a key role, and now he's the manager. I mean, it just looks like,
I'll be back in 1 second.
Can I throw it out there? Can I throw it out there and just say then? Because obviously he's the manager now, and this is very, very reminiscent of a certain situation. Or head coach. Yeah, sorry, we cannot, and that was made clear on the statement. Head coach. He's the head coach or interim head coach right now. If he performs well in the time that he's given, can we see another Ollie at the wheel situation? Would you be open for that, or are you like, no, I don't want to fall down that track?
If he's successful, I would say bring him on. If he does well and you want to continue with him, I just want success for the club. I want to see the team, the players playing. I don't even want to be looking up at Ineos and thinking about them. I want to watch the game of football and say, yeah, these guys are on it. No matter how they form, how they get to play, how they get triggered or whatever. I just want to see my boys go out there, play a good game of football and perform to the levels, that I don't think they're performing to. And I can't make excuses. For me, it just doesn't matter. I'm going to say this now and be clear about this. To me, if you're injecting the club with money and you've got players there, the players have to perform on the pitch. So all this stuff going on, it's just lame-ass excuses about the management of the club, You perform under all circumstances, if you go back to the Vietnam War, the Vietnamese didn't have the resources and everything else to fight off America, but they did. They outperformed themselves because they had pride and everything else, you know. So it's not a case of that. Just go out there, the players, restore some pride into the club and the fans that pay your wages, and start playing a good brand of football under whatever coach it is and under whatever regime we're under. Just play your game. You got a privilege of playing football. I would love to be a professional footballer and playing in front of those fans, because I would give my all for the short-term career that we have. So once you've got opportunity out there, give it your all and play better than we are right now, because, you know, we've got a decent team, a team that could possibly finish in the top 6, 7, I think, if possible, maybe in top 4. You know, we just need to push it out there, man, and get the best out of what we got.
Well,
Mr.
the
B,
thing is,
do you think our hopes are sabotaged?
No, I don't.
Top
I think
five,
our
or do you
hopes have
think
improved.
I disagree.
I think our hopes for our position that we finished this season has improved. I said to Rebel earlier on, Fletcher's going to get more points than Amorim got. Absolutely, 100%. But yeah, I'm convinced. Maybe blindly, but I was expecting him until the end of the season. But maybe he's interim. So, you know, maybe he'll cover 2 games or 3 games, and then they'll work out who they want to get in. But I'm convinced. And I said, I understand Fletcher hasn't coached at a high level. I understand that. But what those under-18s were doing to the rest of those teams at that level, he was causing chaos. I understand it's not professional football, but then I look at maybe exactly. Look at Company at Burnley. He had a system of play at Burnley. The players at that level could not cope with. I'm not saying the advice. I'm not comparing Company. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing Company to Fletcher. But what I'm saying is, once you have a system that works and you have better players playing in that system, then, you know, those players and the actual it improves. You can see the improvement. So I'm not throwing shade on Fletcher because what he's done for the under-18s. If he can replicate that with our players, I think he's going to surprise. I think he'll surprise a couple of you lot if he has the time. That's just my opinion.
I get that. Rebel, what do you think, Fletcher? In terms of, I don't know if we all know the pedigree of Fletcher. Obviously, after this morning, I've spent a bit of the day looking at what he does and the style of play and whatnot. He's short term for now, but we need to prepare that it might be a long term thing. Do you think it's a positive? Do you think he gets more points with this like this bunch of players?
No, quite frankly, I don't think he gets 10 points. Like, it was only 2 seasons ago we were asking what the fuck his role is in Manchester United Football Club. Pardon the swear. Darren Fletcher is not a Premier League caliber manager. Vincent Kompany, when he took on his jobs, had went down to the Championship, had managed Burnley, had come up to the Premier League with them, and then went to Bayern Munich. Darren Fletcher has not done his stripes. He's not done his thing. There's absolutely no reason to be positive about a Darren Fletcher team. I think he's going to be tactically outclassed by every single manager in the Premier League. I think the fact that people think, as bad as Ruben Amorim was, that he's going to get 31 points for the rest of the season, absolutely no chance in hell. Ineos don't have a plan. The Glazers don't have a plan. Omar Barada doesn't have a plan if that plan is Darren Fletcher to the end of the season. There's absolutely nothing that points to it being a positive outlook for Manchester United Football Club. I think we're going to be looking at some incarnation of Ollie Ball where if he does get a win, it's by some fluky happenstance that has led to him getting those 3 points. Mm-hmm. As I said, 3 years ago, people were asking what qualifications he had for whatever role he was actually being brought in to do. I think it was an oversight for somebody, wasn't it? Some level. Like, the fact that if he's anything other than a 2-game temporary fix while they find an intern manager of some quality, I think you have to kind of look at Manchester United Football Club and say, Ineos and the Glazers have given up on this season.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Hello,
I just
hello.
got
I've
to
not
take
seen
on
this
that
name
other.
before. Yep. Temezgen Deliso. What a name. What a name. Temezgen Deliso. Apologies if I have butchered that name. No Ale or Thomas Tuchel is better for United. Also, make a plan for signing Lone Gallagher, Mateta, Federico Chiesa, and midfielder Carlos Baleba. Neves, Anderson, Adiemi, Cancelo to United is a bit better for next. So you're not asking for much. You're not asking for much, to be fair. But no, fair enough. Fair enough. I understand your views there. I understand that. And hello. Aisha Zico. We should bring Poch in after the World Cup. He is the right guy for the job. We'll talk about kind of potential future candidates. I just want to touch upon one more thing, one more comment here as well. Osman Ishmael Fletcher formed a Man United FC. Fletcher formed at formed at Manchester United, knows Fergie's type management. His twins were at City mates and he took them here and wants our facilities improved. Yeah, so again, I've been seeing a few of the videos naturally going around today of Fletcher talking about his tactics, and he talks about the Manchester way, the Manchester DNA, quick attacking football. He does play a fullback. He plays a free midfield. He plays traditional wingers, and he plays with a number 9 up front. That is music to our ears. That is exactly what we've wanted. But the initial talks has been that he's going to be an interim, and then we're looking for an interim to be the interim for the interim, and then get someone at the end of the season. I don't like this. No, that because that's far fetched. That is Ineos. That's typical Ineos getting an interim in for the interim to get.
Yeah, but what they've done, listen, you see what you have. They didn't know they were going to sack him, so what they've done, the next best solution is somebody inside the club. It then gives them 2 weeks to work out if they can find some. I mean, interim's going to have to be somebody out of work for a start. So that's where people need to be looking at. If not, and he does well if he's there for 4 games and he wins the 4 games, or he performs in the 4 games, although Arsenal and Man City are in now those 4, then maybe it takes the pressure off them and they don't have to rush. And maybe he does stay interim until the end of the season. The fact that they're looking for an interim means that, Rebel, you're happy in regards to that. They're not looking to keep Fletcher on. They're just looking him to cover a gap and go. Me, on the other hand, I'm thinking keep Fletcher. He's going to get those players knowing what they're supposed to be doing. And as I said, under 18s, they were causing chaos with the results, man. They were battering everybody. So that's down to his style of play. That's down to him having a deep lying 6 who just pings the ball left and right. It's about him finding the forwards early. He talks about pace, attacking forward. I get it. There's going to be a lot of people like me saying no, Mr. B.
He'll need to bring up that player, won't he? What's his name? Is it Foyt?
Yeah, you talk about He's
the only one in the whole club.
But guess what? He's probably not ready. He's probably not ready to be moved up. Let's not get it twisted. We've seen the gap between the under 18s, under 21s. Cheeto's been popping up the under 18s, under 21s for 2 seasons and still can't get a look in. So there is a big difference. And so he's probably not going to come up. But,
Mr. B, you talk about him playing this wonderful flowing football with the underage teams. There's a big difference between the egos of those players who are trying to learn their trade and the egos of some of the charlatans masquerading as players in our senior squad. They have failed multiple players, and I think if we roll the dice and gambling Darren Fletcher to the end of the season, those players will not respond to him. And you're looking.
I don't think it's going to be till the rest of the season. I don't think he goes till the end of the season. I would love it. To be fair, go till the end of the season. Keep Fletcher in. He's a Fergie, man. I love that all day.
Will you accept?
But what would you do? Yeah, but what would you do in terms of, would you get an interim for the interim, or would you just keep Fletcher till the end and see it through?
At the moment, I think you've got to give Fletcher the Burnley game, all right, and assess it after that. What we've seen with Rude, with Michael Carrick recently, the interims are just like short term. The interims are, in this case, it's an interim for Amorim. That's what the thumbnail should have said. By the way, thanks for that. Too late. But yeah, I just feel that you got to give him the Burnley game. I agree with Mr. B. We've got some Man City, Arsenal after that. Give him those games, because then there's no pressure, is there? They can say, well, we didn't have a proper manager for that game. If we lose, if we win, then he's got an opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think we should just keep him to the end of the month. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Like I said about the Batman analogy, there needs to be a contingency plan in place. If there is one, good. If there isn't one, well, shame on you, because you should have been considering this and have a backup plan for every kind of circumstance going forward. So that will tell you a lot about where we're in your at. If you look at Nice, they've had so many managers going in and out that club. I don't want to end up like that, being a short-term job place for management at our club. We need someone established to come in and do a good job. Can I just throw out a couple of names? Liam Rossignol, who's going to Chelsea possibly. If he loves managing like football club. When he took his team up to Aberdeen recently, he was praising Alex Ferguson and praising Man United. He said that's his team as a kid, And I just think he wouldn't get the role because he's young, relatively inexperienced, but he knows his stuff. I've watched him closely. I know his dad. I used Leroy Rossignol, top player back in the day. But when I see the way he talks football, you see on his notice board in French and managing that team, he clearly knows his stuff and he's played the game as well. Then you got someone like the Ipswich manager, who's could be come back into the reckoning. He's proved himself to be He's proved himself. He brought Ipswich up, playing a good brand of football from the first division up until the Championship, no hesitation, straight up to the Premier League. You cannot dispute that's really good.
Let's get through to the manager then.
And still play players that he had in the first division in the Premier League, even though they got relegated. So he's got something about him. He needs to be in consideration as well. And on top of that, he knows our football club. But then once again, he's young, like Amorim, and maybe it's a huge job. And the last person to perform well in this job was Alex Ferguson. And that's a long time ago. So I think it's a good conversation to have about the criteria of our next manager for the long term. What do we really need? Because we've been here before on the Man United agenda when it's with the various managers that have gone while we've been running this show.
Well, you got me on the. Go on.
I just got to answer Colm's one here. He's got with City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Bayern, Real, Barca, hire Fletcher. They're not hiring Fletcher. What you have to understand, Chelsea have done it with their under-21 coach. They didn't know Maresca was going to go, but they filled the gap.
So the difference I'm trying to point is, though, we're getting an interim for Fletcher to get us to the end of the season. This Rossignol, who's coming in for Chelsea, that's not an interim. He's got the job. That's going to be the main guy.
No, I'm talking about the guy that they had to fill the gap, the under-21 coach.
Yeah, but he's just played that one game. That's what Fletcher is
going to be the one game that he plays.
Well, Rossignol should be here in the next couple of days. They're trying to get it started.
He's talking about Arsenal. Arsenal's current manager had no prior management experience either.
So, Colm, do you want to take that back? Do you want to retract that one, do you?
Yeah, my concern is we're getting an interim for the interim, and then we're going to get a proper manager at the end. So
the reason why they've said interim for the interim is to stop people like Rebel losing their mind.
Yeah,
because if they said that Darren Fletcher's coming in, then they haven't thought about it. Think about it. If he's come in, they haven't thought about it at all. Oh, Darren Fletcher's going to be interim to the next and they probably only decided that Amorim was going to get sacked 2 days ago. You see what I mean? So now with Darren Fletcher coming in,
a lot of clubs do that. A lot of clubs do that. Allow the under manager to actually fulfill the role to the end of the season. Prime example, Zidane did it. Prime example, Pep Guardiola did it. They came up from the ranks and they weren't doing it to get replaced in like 2-3 weeks time. Like apparently it's already set in stone. Apparently it's already set in stone that Fletcher's being replaced. Like he's not doing it as a game by game.
I'm not gonna say you're wrong. But I know if Fletcher comes out there and wins the 4 games, if he beats City and Arsenal by some miracle, there's no way that 5th game he goes. They give him the job until the end of the season. 100%.
Yeah,
if he gets a result in those 2 games,
it would be hard for us to say no, we don't want him. Even Rebel will be like that.
there has to be. We can't be the Ollie. We can't be under the Ollie-itis again, where Ollie had a good in. Ollie wasn't the manager that we all thought we were going to get. We were just glad that he came in at the time.
It will happen.
So
Though. It will happen.
what? No, listen. As I said, get the manager in. Let them know what. Let the manager know. Let them know who the manager is early. Come maybe April, May, where they've said, "This is our manager. This is what we're coming. That's what we're coming with." I just assume that the manager that we're going to get is going to be in employment. And then does he do a Ten Hag and decide that he wants to take 2 weeks off holiday before he comes, or is he going to do an Amorim, cancel his holiday, show that desire, and come straight in and say to the board, "Well, I need this, and this," because there's no point in watching it. I could watch Yabba's team on a Sunday and say, "Yeah, your central midfielder's good, your right back's good, and Yabba says to me, "You know what? He only played one half good game, or he's normally shit, or he normally plays well." So you have to be. He needs to be given clues as to what he's going to be working with next season. You know what I mean? So whoever they get in, maybe they don't have to promise him the world, but he's going to have to be promised a bit, And then does he have? Would you say Amorim had power at the club with buying players?
Apparently, he thought he did. That's the whole reason he's kind of got annoyed, didn't he? He thought he was a manager.
In your
I
head.
agree with what Rio's saying. He came in on the premise that he's going to be manager, have a bit more weight in what's said. I think when Klopp first turned up at Liverpool, he said, "I want to do things my way," or he made a statement to say, "Look, if we're going to get this right, let's do it. I have to have key decisions in this," and I think it's really important. Let me just say this: when I went to school, this is a long time ago, when we were going back in school, our head teacher. Right, when you walked into the assembly, everyone had to rise. You used to wear a cloak and just walk through it. Everyone had to stand up as soon as you walked in, like he's some royalty. When the teacher walked in, when he walked into the classroom, everyone had to stand up. Now, you might laugh at that, whatever, but I was scared of this man, and I would jump hoops for this head teacher because there was discipline there. There was order, and control. And some of these joke teachers, we used to lock them out of the classroom, and they used to bang in through the window. "Oh, let me in. We'd laugh at that. That just shows you the difference in if you're going to manage. You can be a joke, like some of the teachers that we had that we used to joke with and call them dirty coffee breath and throw sweets at them and when they're not looking and lock them out of the classroom. Or you could be that serious, scary teacher that, like in Grange Hill, or like my Mr. Everest in the head master, who would make you do your pants if you got in trouble and make you cry tears and embarrass you, and you do what you're told and you do a good job for it, because discipline is what's important, even for adults.
Yeah, but our players, what happens is when you discipline them, they go crying to the press.
True. Yeah, or they release some statement. Yeah, you're right.
45 people watching. If you've not done so already, please smash the likes. Honestly, it's a massive day, and it helps support the channel. Massive day for the channel. Massive day for Manchester United in general. I'm seeing we deserve better. You've put it twice, my friend. So I do want to call it out. Who highlighted it then? You had it highlighted about the Xavi comment. Let me find that. There we go. Yeah, Xavi or Zidane. Zidane, it's a bit of an iffy one. Xavi, no, he's a terrible manager. Brilliant player, but not manager. He's not earned his stripes yet. Enrique, permanent manager, I would love it, but obviously that's well above our pay grade. Well above our pay grade.
We deserve better. Has been on the happy juice today, bro. The names that he just called out: Xavi or Zidane as interim, interim.
Yeah.
And then Enrique as permanent manager. Bruv, man. You did, if you try doing that on what's that game that you do, Football Manager? The game would switch off and say idiot.
You wouldn't. Yeah, they're not interested. It'll be that thing. You try and speak to the agent. They're not interested at this time. I would like a British manager, or Irish manager for no particular reason, but defo not waistcoat. Oh yeah. Are we all in agreement? Or actually, are we in agreement? One thing for sure. If we're going to we'll talk about potential managers. Southgate, no. No.
Why? What sorry, what's wrong with Southgate? Just
Oh my God,
what?
Mr. B.
He's a
No, I'm
yes man.
just listen.
He
That's
had
what
a
they
group of
want.
players. He had a group of players in England that should have won 2 competitions, the World Cup and the Euros, and he had the Euros at home and failed. When Terry Venables lost the Euros, it was up against a proper German team. You know, they had an opportunity against a terrible Italy team, and it hasn't qualified for major competitions since then, and they flopped it at home. You know, I'm watching a thing about Cellini or the other day. They're talking about it. And they were laughing, thinking we psychologically we knew England were a better team, but we beat them through mentality and tactics. And Southgate, for me, is just a yes man. The reason he was employed is because Sam Allardyce decided, who was, I think he took over from Allardyce, if I'm right, or maybe I'm wrong, but Sam Allardyce was correct at some point. He was the manager at some point until something dodgy happened. But he took over and they said, "Oh, let's just get our yes man in." This is why England, the FA, never got Brian Clough in. They don't want that sort of manager there. They want someone they can control and direct. But it doesn't work because England don't win major tournaments because of that. He had a great opportunity with a great patch of players that he had. World-class striker, enough good wingers, you know, proper solid team. Premiership's the best league in the world. And he couldn't perform. He couldn't get them over the line. I just think if you come to Man United, I've seen him in his interviews as well. What I was talking about earlier about discipline, fear, putting that in. He's going to be your best friend. And he's not going to be that disciplined manager that puts fear into you, makes you run through the wall.
And the other side of it as well is he can change his tactics. When he was managing England, he had one of the most gifted squads imaginable in terms of an attacking sense. Half them he didn't actually bring into his squad for no apparent reason. And regardless of whether he was playing one of the top nations that could hurt you offensively or whether he was playing Liechtenstein, he still played the same dour, negative crud football. And it's one thing to play crud football when you're getting results. It's another thing entirely when you're 14th, 15th in the league. And that's what Southgate... I do not believe Southgate has any redeemable factors about him whatsoever.
Amorim wasn't a good manager, and I'm so happy he's gone. Giggs should be the next United manager. Oh, controversial there. It's not happening, but yeah.
Wow. Look, I wasn't a Southgate in. I just wanted to know why I was.
I think you unnerved a few things by just asking the question.
Yeah, I did. You went. I saw your face. I saw Yabba's face. I saw Rebels. No, I was just saying. He calmed down England. Do you know what I mean? England were. You know, I just wanted to put. I just wanted to put out my choice.
But that's what we thought we had. You know. So okay. Next question is kind of the type of manager we want now, because obviously we've tried all kinds of candies, sweets.
He's gonna have to be a my boy.
We've tried them all now.
He's gonna have to be a my boy for the club.
We've had an Amorim, we've had a Ten Hag, we've had a Jose, we've had an Ali, we've had a Ranić, technically, yes. Van Gaal, if I've said him already, Moyes. What do we need? Like, what's the profile of manager that we need right now? Because it's getting annoying now. Do we need a piece of everyone? Like, I don't know anymore.
Let me just respond to you there. I just think, like, you know, sometimes where the perfect footballer, best left foot, best right foot, best brain, best heading ability, best shooting. These are this criteria we need for best manager for Man United, not just for any club, but for Man United Football Club. The most important thing for me is, does the manager have to be ruthless, as in speak out? Because, like you said earlier, the ones that have spoken out against the establishment before have been given the boot. You know,
I don't think so anymore.
So I think that's important. I don't think. First of all, you need to be experienced. All right, and then you need to have that X factor where you can get the best out of players. I want to see a manager that's played lower leagues and performed above his weight and punched above his weight, as in he's got a lesser amount of players and made them perform at a higher level. That to me suggests, you got something about you, you know. And can you think of anyone like that? You know, can you?
You know the one person that comes to mind.
Amorim was that guy. You can't say Ten Hag was that guy.
The one person that comes to mind, Unai Emery. I think I like everything about him right now, in terms of, and we deserve better. If you're still here, you've been saying it for a while now, and it's kind of dawned on me. So fair play, big up yourself in terms of.
What's happened when he's at big clubs, Rio?
He says what did he say?
Arsenal.
He says he says, what does he say? in terms of Amorim and the press conferences, and he's being petulant and he comes out and speaks out. We're Manchester United. We're an establishment. We should have a manager that can conduct himself in all the right manners in press conferences with the players when it comes to the board. We don't need to be hearing all this drama, and I'm sick of the drama. I don't want drama anymore. And I think We Deserve Better has been calling out on that. And I think I want someone where we're not talking about formations every bloody week. I want someone that's a strewed, cold. We know what he's doing. And Emery gives me that right now. I think Emery, we're not going to get Emery, obviously, but someone like
we're
that.
saying, he's got meets criteria. You talk about job specification, and he's good.
Can we just point out that when Erik ten Hag came to us, he came with a lot of pomp, a lot of gusto behind him. He has been identified by multiple big teams as being the next potential big manager. Ruben Amorim was the same. There was a lot of wind in his sails, and he was being seen as replacement for Pep, replacement for whoever at Real Madrid. There was a lot of big clubs after him. So we've obviously got in high potential managers, and it looks like at the moment Manchester United is the club where careers go to die, because we have failed players and we have failed managers. But the question is, when you look at those that have succeeded at Manchester United Football Club, we haven't won a league since Fergie. David Moyes was seen as one of the top managers in the Premier League at the time that he joined Manchester United. The job was too big for him. Then we got in Louis van Gaal, who had high success wherever he went, won a FA Cup, and he was gone. Jose Mourinho, serial winner, won his couple of trophies, was gone. So when you look at Manchester United and you look at the top tier of managers, the managers that most fans would be getting excited about, they're going to look at Project Manchester United as it stands, and they're probably thinking, why would I go there? Why would I potentially risk suffering the same fate as Ruben Amorim, as Erik ten Hag, and have my career stagnate because the club hasn't identified all its problems?
Because we're United. We that law of coming to United will always be there. I get what you mean. You're absolutely right. I think the board have let down the managers time and time and time again. But there will always be that manager. And it's annoyingly, that manager is going to be a younger manager, which it's going to be the manager that's going to be like, oh, I'll try it. I'll be the one to turn Manchester United around. It's not going to be the older one, which I'm probably looking for, someone that's a little bit more strewed, that fits the establishment. Where Manchester United fit the establishment. We're not going to get a Sir Alex Ferguson again. No. But he would not have any of.
If you're a manager, is it an attractive job as it used to be?
Yeah. Okay,
Even
not as
with
it
the
used to
owners
be.
in
Not as
place.
it used to be, but it still is.
Okay.
It still is. Yeah. It's still. What do you disagree, or do you
I
think
want to
it
put
is?
out
the question out. I'm curious what you thought about that. I'm not sure.
I want to throw something into that debate because I think it's an interesting question that Yabba asks. When Jurgen Klopp was being interviewed prior to him joining Liverpool, he came into Manchester United Football Club and he talked to the executives, he talked to the owners, and he realised the place was a basket case. So these intelligent, shrewd managers, they may take the interviews, but unless they are happy that the environment kind of gives them a fighting chance, they're going to run. Is it attractive? Of course it is, Manchester United. Let's not call a spade here. But Klopp and people of his ilk, they're going to look at all the other demographics within that club and they're going to say, okay, am I going into a poker hand with 2-2 when I'm looking at a straight flush against me? Like, there's a lot of concerns that those managers are going to have about the way our club is operating.
Hence why I respect Ralph Rangnick, don't you, Mr. B, with his quotes. It comes back to, all these quotes from the past, what Mourinho said as well about the club. All these things turn out to be really true. It's a great club, great history, but there's a lot going on that's stinking out the place right now. And even with players, I remember when Jude Bellingham was looking around the club years ago when we were successful, it would be a no-brainer. He would just turn up and play and come to us. But he came and he decided to go to Dortmund. I mean, that speaks volumes about the state of our club and why things are so bad at the moment. So any potential manager would be sizing up and saying to himself, okay, big club, But there's a huge but. And I think in the football circles, they would be saying that job is cursed. You don't really want to take that job. It's going to ruin you. Look at the past. Like Rebel said, look at Ten Hag. I mean, he was flying. He was the main guy. No one complained when we got him in. Same with Ruben Van Amorim. Everyone was talking, oh, he's going to go to Liverpool. You know, no one complained. He was the next hot shot. But he's been ruined in a way. His stock's gone down because he's been at Man United and wasn't able to, you know, carry that load that comes with it. So whoever comes in next, the criteria for you, I don't envy you because it's a huge job, not just because of the club, but because of the issues that still remain at the club that seem to be destroying all the managers that have come since Fergie and with Fergie as well when he was there, because there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes when Fergie was there once the Glazers came in. You remember, it was Fergie that brought the Glazers under his rule. The Glazers came in at that time, you know, and he soon left and left the mess for us. So I'm really interested to see who the next big manager is and why he would take the job. And I'm really also interested to hear what Darren Ferguson has got to say tomorrow at 5 o'clock in his press conference.
Fletcher.
Whether he's going to bury a certain man or is he going to be the establishment man? I'll soon find out.
I think the next manager that comes in, because we're in a catch-22 here, it's like, don't go too young because that manager will take the job but then speak out. Go too old, they will just come for the interview and then see what's on the table and go sod that. I think the next manager probably needs to be an older manager that's at a lesser club that wants to take the next step up, is willing to put their toe in the bath, but is wise enough to see what's ahead. So, you know, someone like a Glasner, for example, which I'm not fond of the style of play, but he probably fits that demographic in terms of he's old enough to take the next step up and move away from Palace. Or Mr. B,
he's free. Sorry, he's free. That's what the club want. Glasner ended Glasner. Manager, yeah, that's perfect for them. He ain't gonna cost them no money. You know what I mean? He's already in the Premier League. I wouldn't mind Glasner, but one, Crystal Palace ain't nowhere near us. And two, he plays free. You know, if he played a 4, then I think that there may be something. There's no way they can bet a manager, even if he says, oh, he's flexible. He plays a 3, but he's flexible. No. You play 4. I want to hear 4.
Yeah.
And then flexible. I don't want to hear it the other way around. You know what I mean? 4 and flexible is good. When you hear, oh, I'm free at the back, I'm flexible. His system's not even the same as ours. Crystal Palace sitting and wait for teams and catch them on the counter-attack. You think we can counter-attack at our club?
Yeah. No, I don't want him. I don't want him. I just meant the profile. So like even like a Marco Silva at Fulham, for example, you know, someone like that, Areola at Bournemouth. Like someone like
I wouldn't mind Areola. He's worked wonders with you know, he's had injuries every, you know, the 2 seasons he's been there and he's done well, but
here's the thing with Glasgow. Look at his midfield. Look at the players that he has at his disposal at Crystal Palace, and look at our players and whether or not they could actually play a system. They couldn't play Ruben Amorim's, they couldn't play Eric Ten Hag's, and they couldn't play our former intern manager Ralphie Ranick's system. So there's no reason to believe that they can play Glasner's system either. What Manchester United probably need, like, is someone of the ilk of Carlo Ancelotti, who has maybe a season or 2 left in his career, and
Sorry, why even Ancelotti's nearly dead? I'm sorry. No, there's no future in Ancelotti.
I think for any manager to succeed, any realistic Premier League challenging manager to succeed, is you need basically to razz the place to the ground in terms of the squad. Start from your base concrete foundation and build up again. I don't think there's sufficient quality and variety in our squad to let a manager succeed.
Did you hear what Ancelotti or what Oli said about Ancelotti? He said that they had a conversation about the Man United job, and Oli said to Ancelotti, "Would you ever take it?" And he went, "I'll try and do the eyebrow." But he went, "No. Too much pressure at that job. No, not Manchester United."
There you go.
So that made me laugh. I was like, "Oh my god! If Ancelotti's turning us down, then there's no hope. There's no hope."
A lot of good comments in the chat.
Yeah, let's have a whiz
guys,
through them. Let's have a whiz through them.
good stuff. It's great to hear what people say because we're all like up in the air about what we want, what we need. I just don't know.
I just wish it had worked out for Keno at his other clubs. He would have been great fit for United, but sadly, being a great player doesn't mean being a great manager. I agree with that. I think we would all take Roy Keane. You know, I think we would all take Roy Keane alongside a manager anyway, just so he's there in the changing room, kicking up these foolish idiots that are not performing week in and week out. Delo. I don't want Glasner. I feel like we could have an Amorim situation all over again. He's not for me. Agreed. Jose was the manager that had a CV that managers couldn't match, and it still didn't work out. To be honest, though, I think that for me, Jose was the one that got away. Katy Perry. Like I wish we kept a hold of Jose.
He sabotaged himself, bro. Do people remember what Jose was doing to the club?
That was Player FC, though. That was Player FC. It became Player FC.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh,
Rebel, some of them players who was in that them managers have left. I think it's only regional was Luke Shaw. So my elbow to cope with the manager who is managing Crystal Palace at the moment. Yes, Vinny. And we deserve better. Glasner has played a 4-4-2 at Lask and a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3 when at Wolfsburg. He has come out and he says it, and I've seen him talk about it, etc. So he's a very intelligent manager. I'll give you that. If he did come to United, I think he would adapt. I think he would. But I agree with you, Mr. B. I want to hear it from the get-go. Four at the back. 4 at the back. I don't want to wait. I don't want to transition into it. 4 at the back with the ability to some games turn to a 3 at the back if you have to, not the other way around.
How do you think certain players will be feeling about this? Is there anyone, if you look at our squad, is there anyone in the squad who'll be thinking, this is not good for me?
I think it'll be more players thinking, yes, I'm back.
Okay, but who do you think is going to be saying, this ain't good for me? Because
nobody.
Because it's a project. No.
Because maybe because if we go back to a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, certain players like Dorgu, can he play left back? Would he be considered as a left back?
I think he'd have to be
because he was bought as a wing back.
No, Dorgu would be a right winger now.
No.
Yeah.
We ain't got the right winger where? Over who? Over in Bremo and Ahmad?
No, I'm not as a starter. Like Dorgu's not a starter no more. Like that's it. But I'm saying when he plays, he'll be a right winger. Like he'll be a right winger.
Yeah, but he's been a starter under Amorim, more likely. So I think he's going to be worried, thinking, if the new man comes in and plays back 4, where am I going to play? Because I can't get ahead of him.
Shaw will play left back.
Yeah,
and he has got the legs. He has got the legs. So
Ahmad, who's been a revelation at wing back,
right wing,
right wing. Ahmad goes right wing in his right spot.
He goes right wing. Same place, bruv. Listen, we need to remember we need competition for places. Yeah. Everybody's saying, he's not gonna, bruv. You seen Arsenal's team?
Yeah.
You see the team. We used to have 4 strikers. We used to have 4 strikers, and they all played. Yeah. All these people talking. I don't give a shit. Get the 4-3-3 and let those players chop each other's heads off when they're on the pitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let them, if it means that Ahmad has to get his head up and start passing and doing 1-2s to get himself in, then fine. If it means Cunha has to stop dribbling, if it means Mason Mount has to not get injured, if you know what I mean, I want competition for places, bro. Everything was so easy. Everybody knew who was playing. You know what I mean? Let Kobe go in there now and brock up Casemiro in training.
Is Kobe fit? Is Kobe back fit now? Yeah.
He probably won't be. To be fair, he probably won't be. But Kobe's not the issue. Kobe's not the issue because Amorim pulled him out. We already know Amorim pulled him out of the firing line. He never said when he was going to be back. Do you know what I mean? I hope Kobe comes back because we know I don't care if Kobe comes back and said he's available to play tomorrow. Because we know that it was Amorim treating him like a shithole. Why he wasn't interested. We're not all going to sit down here and say Kobe shouldn't have had 1 start in all of the games that he's had this season. You're telling me Kobe was fit and didn't get 1 start?
No, I agree with you.
I agree with you, man.
I agree.
Amorim, man. I mean,
I'll
Kobe
throw
might
one more
come in and play like
curveball in.
a pussy.
I'll throw one more
Sorry?
curveball in. Bruno, if he comes back and he's in the 10 spot, does this change our thoughts about whether he wanted to go or not?
No, I still want him to go. I
Okay.
still want him to go. Bruno's on 350. He's on £350,000 a week. Yeah, he's on double the amount of Cunha and double the amount of Mbeumo, and we want to be talking about saving our wage structure. Bruno can't do any more for us than he's done. Top goal scorer, top assister in the Premier League since he can't do any more for us, and he's still not being appreciated. Bro, go somewhere where you're going to be appreciated, man, and then we can save ourselves some money as well. You know what I mean?
But
We don't need Bruno. I'm not saying we don't need Bruno, but teams adapt. We're not going to get a Bruno clone, but we get players who can, go into a system of, just what the right play. What's it? Square, round circle, square pegs for square holes. What did they say?
Round holes.
Yeah, so I want them in the right place. I want them in the right hole.
You want them in the right hole.
Yeah.
But to be fair, you mentioned Ahmed, and actually he's the one that I'm least concerned about because he can play in the 10 when Bruno's forced to play the double pivot for the rest of the season. If Mount is not available, he can play on the wing, as you said rightly.
Sorry. Fletcher doesn't play. He plays 2 6s in a 4-2-3-1. In a 4-3-3, he might get away with playing Bruno, but in he plays 2 6s. 4-2-3-1, he plays 2 6s. So we don't have 2 6s, and I don't see Bruno has the attributes that Fletcher's gonna want for that 6. What's going to be interesting is if Fletcher has any power over these players in regards to them respecting him and the club respecting the decisions that he's going to make. Imagine he says he doesn't want Bruno playing. Are the club going to accept that he's not going to start Bruno? Do you know what I mean? Or is he then going to be picking the team that Wilcox, Wilcox, is suggesting that he picks? You know what I mean?
They've been crying for the 4-back formation for ages. So I reckon they've got their mindset on what players they want to play as well. You're right. Wilcox and Iniesta, all of them. They probably think they can manage the team at this point.
Can I just say, so for me, because Wilcox got a big role to play in all this, as we've seen with the conversation. They had a meeting, didn't they, on Friday, and which is only natural. You meet with the manager, look at the direction you want to play, and apparently, when Ruben turned it around at the end of last year, was it with Ten Hag? I can't remember now, but he's had an influence, hasn't he? He's got a lot of power at the club as well, and this is a guy who lacks the experience at the top level. But a sporting director, I was looking at it today, sporting directors are responsible for shaping the club's football philosophy, balancing short-term performance with long-term planning. So balancing short-term performance with long-term planning. This makes sense. I'm getting this. This involves aligning recruitment, player development, and first-team goals with the broader vision of the club. That's a definition of what sporting director does. And it does make sense. But it does kind of conflict, I think, when he's talking about the first-team goals and that kind of thing. He shouldn't have too much influence, I believe, over what the manager does. If you respect the manager and you go in there and have a conversation with him, I think the manager should say, look, we should be on board with what we're doing. We all agree that we're going in the right direction. But I'm the manager here. I'm running things. You, as Amorim said the other day, which is a bit of an irritant to him, you focus on doing the sporting director role of the job.
Yeah.
It's really clear. So once you have defined roles, and we know what the roles involve, because we need to look at what a head coach is now. We need to look at the difference, what distinguishes a manager from a head coach and a sporting director. All these roles are intertwined. It gets messy. Stick to your job, as Ruben said, and do your job correctly.
Can I just point out that I went back and actually found the press release that was done when Ruben Amorim was appointed. He was never called a manager, he was called a head coach. And obviously what he said at the weekend kind of crossed the line with Wilcox. But I suppose the one thing I would urge caution on, if you're a manager at Manchester United Football Club, or a head coach as they call him now, and you had Fergie sniffing around looking at what you were doing and kind of constantly, obviously, if you want advice from him, you're going to take it from somebody that's as legendary as him. But if you have got somebody that's constantly trying to undermine you and constantly trying to interfere in the process you're doing, there's obviously a danger that will affect the preparation of your team. And I think there needs to be a clear role definement of where these people interfere with team business. And you have to kind of have a clear demarcation of who the head coach is answerable to. Is it Omar Barada or is it Wilcox? And then you have to establish where those communications then take place. You can't have somebody coming down and saying, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, because they knew the style of football that Ruben Amorim played when they appointed him. They knew that he was a three at the back merchant. So they cannot act surprised when he doesn't want to play a 4-3-3. So whatever they do now going forward, they have to have a clear plan. And I think for the same reason that Bruno Fernandes won't be back next year because of his wages and because we're in a rebuild, Marcus Rashford similarly will not be back at Manchester United Football Club because his wages is above that hard cap that Ineos have identified as what they want as the maximum tolerable salary.
Yeah. Yep. Well said. Might drop. Gents, it's past the hour. It's been a mad day, honestly. It's therapy. I woke up this morning, had the day. I was down in the dumps about Amorim. The day's gone by. I'm still a bit upset about him. I was there until the very end. Ruben Amorim in, but sod's law. His time has come. As the song goes, Skyfall. This is the end. So yeah, my final thought. Ruben Amorim, I applaud you. Thank you. You did what you could do with the tools that you were given. You're trying to do open heart surgery with chopsticks. It weren't ever going to work, and ultimately he's fell short. But the next manager, whether it's the interim, they need backing. Ineos, do your damn job. Mr. B, final words.
Have a good one.
Oh God, you're going to bed happy. You are happy. Rebel, final words.
I don't believe that Ineos are going to spend any money in January, unfortunately, and unless they have a solid plan for how to navigate the rest of the season, to quote AC/DC, we could be on the highway to hell.
Oh gosh, there we go. Another song quote. I like it. Yaba, come on. Final word. Can you give us a song quote? Come on, to end us.
Guys. In the words of the famous Billy Ocean, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And it's a shame that we have to go through this. Is it a downer? Is it upper? What we don't know what lies in the future for Man United Football Club. One thing we do know is that we will be here going towards 5K subscribers on the Man United agenda. This is big for the channel, big for everyone, all the supporters. Let's hope that we follow Man United agenda and Man United Football Club on this journey to the end of the season and see how it pans out. Big up Rio, big up Mr. B, and big up Rebel. Welcome back, Rebel. It's nice to see you back in town.
Thank you. We will be back. We're back constantly. We've got the preview tomorrow, the Burnley preview. Hopefully, we will get some Darren Fletcher comments out and about, so we'll be able to discuss those in the flesh and see what the plans are. But yes, people, if you've not done so already, smash the likes. Thank you as always. And yes, big day, big news. We are the Man United agenda. And as always, good night.